Welcome to More Than Renovating, a renovate and real estate podcast. Our founder, Belinda Smith, talks to industry experts to provide you with the knowledge and information you need to make renovating for love and profit your reality. Belinda will also chat to some of her Renovation Mastery members who are just everyday people doing extraordinary things, following their passions in the renovation and property space. So, let's jump straight into the episode. Enjoy.
Hi everyone, I'm Belinda Smith from Renovate and Real Estate. Welcome to the More Than Renovating Podcast. And I have a beautiful guest with me this morning, Tanya Fleming. Tanya has been a member of Renovation Mastery for quite a few years now and Renovation Consultancy Mastery. She loves home, she loves property, and we're just going to talk to Tanya basically about your story, Tanya.
Hi, thank you.
We were just talking 2 seconds ago and I said, where did this all start for you? And you said that your love of property started back when you were working as a real estate agent. So tell me your story of where your property journey began.
Well, as I said, from about the age of 17, my first job was in real estate, reception work. And through the years, of course, I moved forward and eventually got my own real estate representative's license. And for about 30 plus years, I worked as a property manager, senior property manager with a number of different real estate agents. So I've always had that love of anything to do with homes. Even in my first marriage, I was always tinkering with my furniture, changing rooms, always wanting to change things up all the time. And eventually in the real estate industry, I started to push for, changing the way that the agents would have the homes photographed, because I'd walk in and of course the homes would be messy and they wouldn't have, everything in its place. And I'd start tinkering around and say, oh, look, hang on, before you take this shot, let's do this. And before long, all the agents were asking me to come with them for their photo shoots. So I've always been that way inclined and always been creative. I've spent a lot of time in doing art. I still paint, well, not as much these days because I'm too busy renovating.
At home.
I love to do art. I've always been that way inclined. So that's probably where my initial love of real estate or properties came into place. Yeah.
It's such a common story, and it's me included. If you're inclined to want to change your own bedroom as a kid and move furniture around and you're interested, it's that creative spirit, I think, that really lends people to renovating, just that urge to make something pretty.
Yes.
Around, add colour, tidy things up.
Yes.
Yeah. So, I mean, you even identified back then the difference between a house that was easy to sell and tended to sell for more money were the houses that were presented beautifully for market or to market. Absolutely.
And likewise with rentals, because I was a property manager, it was very important to me that even my tenants maintained. I had very high standards as a property manager because it was just in me. It was just something. If I walked into a home and it was a pigsty, I would find myself telling the tenant, you've got to clean this up. You've got to, you're looking after a person's property. So it's sort of just, I don't know where I got it from, but it's just been, very strong in me for a very long time.
Yeah, the desire to live in a beautiful home and understand that it's nice for other people to be surrounded by things as well.
Absolutely. Yes. Yeah.
So talk about your own actual property journey. Where do you live? Where do you come from? Not your address. You don't have to reveal your physical address, but
no, that's all right.
What areas were you brought up in, and what was your childhood like? And how did you end up buying property? And tell me that story.
Well, for me, I was brought up in the western suburbs of Melbourne. My father was quite a high achiever. Long story short, he ended up having his own property company and developed a few different, units and property in his journey with property, but he also owned a large commercial property. And so we've always dabbled. My sister and brother-in-law also were big into purchasing homes, not so much renovating, just building and then selling them on and then moving on. So it's sort of something that's been in the family. Yeah, I think I can go back even, my nieces, my own daughters. We're also, I don't know whether I've impacted anything on my daughters. I know my younger daughter definitely, because she's a mini me now. She's, I think we probably speak to each other 50 times a day. Oh, Mum, do you think I should do this? Mum, do you think, what do you think of this? What do you think of that? So it's very much a strong focus in our family. And likewise here, within my own journey, I have designed one home that my husband and I built, and then we moved house and we bought this property here, and we're in, as I said, in Western Suburbs. We're now in Bacchus Marsh, or Darley in Bacchus Marsh, which is about 50 k's from Melbourne. And we're on 5 acres here, which is lovely because we do have horses and dogs and all those sorts of things. But the home itself, whilst, I'm sitting here and I'm overlooking all of Darley, I'm on a hill and it's a beautiful property, but the builder who built it owned it and really didn't make the best of the views. And so when we moved in, we had a veranda surrounding the house, but all you had was this little veranda to sit on and nothing else. So over the 8 years I've owned it, I've had a 5 square metre sunroom put on the back so that you actually get to enjoy those beautiful views. Did that. I was so happy with that. And then, of course, the itchy, creativeness in me sort of, what can I do next? What can I do next? And we had an outdoor sort of barbecue area that really wasn't being utilised. It wasn't well set up. So I ended up getting some builders in and we gutted it and I redesigned it, and it's all been done, finished off, and we use it all the time. It's beautiful. And then last year, again, the itchy, creative juices start flowing again. And I had a outdoor deck put in with a lovely outdoor fireplace, and it's finished off the property beautifully, although I think we could probably put a container pool in.
A pool.
However,
awesome. Yes,
my husband's not overly keen on a pool, so that's still in debate. But
that goes on his list of things to maintain in the house, along with all
exactly.
of the sacred. So he's like, you're giving me more things to do.
That's right.
Yeah.
But look, at the end of the day, though, there was just nothing more I could do here. So it just got to that stage where I thought, oh, well, that's it for me. And then I sort of got introduced to you and your community, and it was, oh, I could do this. Let's go one step further and buy a house and have a play with the house. And as you know, I did do that a year and a half ago, I think now, and I didn't really think, I sort of hit a flat spot. I had a lot going on with family and lost my dad and all that sort of thing, so it all got put on hold. But this year it was time to go, and it's going.
And you guys can't see the visual. I'm picturing it in my mind because Tanya's shown me photos along the way. It's a gorgeous cottage. It's on a corner. It just has this path that meanders up to the front. It's just lovely, or will be. from the before pictures to now. Yeah, big changes.
I was there yesterday. The painters have painted it all internally. The outside was painted a few months ago now. I think I showed you those photos. Yes, I did. Yeah. And that was amazing transformation. But the inside was dark and, had that sort of horrible green, old 50s paint and very dark and dreary. But now, as of yesterday, it's absolutely stunning. It's just so bright and light, and yeah, I just can't wait for the painters to get all their mess out of there and actually have it looking partly finished. Yes.
So what from now? Are you going to do all the finishing touches, keep going with it, and then are you styling it? Are you going to sell it? What's your plan with that property? Or are you going to keep it as a renter?
I always had planned to sell, but watching the market and watching the amount of homes on the market at the moment, and even in my street, which is probably 2 kilometres long, there's about 5 or 6 homes on the market. So no, I won't be putting it on the market at this stage. I think I'll sit back, and probably 3 of those 5 have all been renovated. Their pricing's probably, I don't know what they paid for them, but they're asking very good money for them. And looking at my figures that I've spent on my property, I think I would probably get my money plus a reasonable amount back.
Yeah, I think you would too.
I think I'm right now, looking at what's around me and what's on the market, I'll probably get someone in to give me a valuation. I do want to actually style it. And because I was umming and ahhing, I thought, well, maybe I could do an Airbnb. But now with,
with the changes in the state,
illustrious bloody
last week,
state,
yeah,
he's just destroying everything. So I'm in all manner of, I don't know what I'm going to do. I get a little bit nervous having been a property manager about putting a tenant in, but at the same time, it might be the way to go.
Yeah. And, there's I've had some amazing tenants. I've got some amazing tenants right now. So, and I've been an amazing tenant.
Yes, that's right.
I was been knocking down and rebuilding. So, I think it's more people moving in and out with their furniture, just the general wear and tear of families coming and going from rentals. And it's hard when you're emotionally attached to something that's done and it's brand new and it's perfect.
I know.
Clean and smells clean. Like there's an attachment. I think you're emotionally attached to your property, Tanya.
Oh, I am.
I'm calling it.
I know.
Yeah.
I'm very emotionally attached to anything that I produce. Even when I was painting, I painted a couple of pets for people who'd lost their dog. And it's just a sheer joy of looking at the happiness in people's faces. And I'm feeling that about my house.
Yeah.
So I know that I have to disassociate myself because it is a business. It is a business, but at the same time, I've put so much love and hard work and hours, and I've just put so much into it. And I just think, I'd have to be the person to pick the tenant, and I might have to manage the property. I don't want to do that.
Well, you've got the skills to do it, and you absolutely can do that if you can afford to hang on. I love renovating to flip, but I also really understand that it's holding on to property for the long term that makes us all deeply wealthy. So that's a great strategy. I'll call you in a few weeks and ask what you've decided to do. So what's left to do on the property? You're at the pointy end now. The painters have been in.
I am. So I've got all the floors have been polished up. They're original floors. They look absolutely beautiful. I have got all the new cupboards, all my cabinetries in. I'm just waiting on the stonemason to put the stone bench tops on. And some tiling. I've got the bathroom and the laundry floors to tile and the backsplash in the kitchen. And then just the plumbing, just put all the taps and the appliances in, and she's put him. And I have already, they've got them waiting for me, but I'm putting plantation shutters throughout the house. So I've got them all done and ready to go whenever I'm ready. So that'll be pretty much it. That'll be finished.
I should get my little film crew to come down and wander through when it's all done. That'd be beautiful. What a lovely experience. Yeah.
The whole journey has been, I'm really happy with where it's come. And I'm such a visual person. So for me, I always had that vision of what it was going to look like when it was finished. And I think even though I had a lot of ups and downs and a lot of lessons learned along the way, a lot of mistakes made along the way, I think not being a hands-on renovator too. I mean, a lot of the members of the rare community obviously are hands-on, and I wish I was that way inclined, but I'm not. But still, even having to make those decisions to have your trades do what you see you want done has been, I've been lucky. I've had some great trades who have really, supported me and patted me on the back and said, "You'll be right, don't worry."
No, I like, there are so many good trades out there. I'm so glad you mentioned that, because a lot of people are of the opinion that working with trades is always a nightmare. And a really good trade team can make your journey joyful. They're good guys. I can't.
Absolutely.
Yeah, the builder here on my property is lovely. He's the son I never had. He's just so on the ball. He's so clever. He's so smart. He's just fantastic. So there are many, many, many out there like that. So I'm glad you've had a good experience with your trades. And you can expect a few bumps in the road too. What did you learn about your DIY abilities, if any? Did you roll your sleeves up at all, Tanya?
No. No. I'm not a DIY person. Look, as I've said all along, I am not. I would like to. I would like to learn how to do things, but I don't know. I'm much better at giving instructions than actually doing.
That's also really nice for me to hear you say, because everybody thinks that, renovating is exhausting. They picture themselves with the paintbrush doing it all, and you don't have to do it that way. You really don't. I'm looking at your nails. They're gorgeous. Mine are different from yours. Your nails.
Oh, my nails.
You can pick the DIYer by the state of their nails.
Yeah, no, I've got my nails.
If you had to pick one thing about a renovation process that you really enjoyed, what would that one thing be?
Oh, I think there were more frustrating things than there were enjoyable things. But now that I'm getting to this end of it,
Yeah.
I'm really enjoying seeing my vision come to life. That's the joy, I think, in doing anything, whether it's, as I said, art, or it's, if you're a gardener, it's just that love of looking at what you've achieved. And I may not have physically done the work, but there was a lot of work that I put into, planning. I spent hours when I first bought that house. I spent hours with A4 sheets of plans and cutting out toilets and cutting out cupboards and trying to make everything fit where I thought it should go. And then, of course, putting out tenders for someone to, for the trades to give me a quote, and then being gobsmacked by the price. And then I had to go back to the plan and go, I can't have that. I had to change it. That was I was totally consumed for months, constantly. And I thought, this is my vision. This is what I want.
Yeah.
I can't have it. So then I would have to go back to Pinterest, or go back to all the saved photos I had, or go on to, like social media and try and find answers to all these questions. And I think when this is done, it's going to be a aha moment, like, oh my God, look what I've done. And that's going to be the joy.
The questions that you had were in alignment with picking a style and having that style flow from one room to the next, creating an upmarket look, but having to sometimes do that via your plan B, because you can't always have what you want. You can't always afford to have what you see on Instagram.
No. And that was the problem. I had my budget. I knew, as I was taught by you guys through all that. budget. I did, and I've got it in my spreadsheet. And I mean, I've always been a very, very competent on Excel, but gee, I'm more than competent now. I have gone back and forwards with my spreadsheets that you provided, with, all my costings. And when I looked at how much everything was going to cost me, it was like, oh my God, that's blown my budget. I had to go back. So just like everybody else that has done this, but it was a huge lesson, because I just saw in my mind, this is what I want. I want this, and I want that room to be opened up, and I want this wall to be opened up, but I just couldn't have it all. No, I couldn't have all that I wanted.
You have to pick and choose. And I think, honestly, you've got such a good eye and a good concept of providing exactly what people will pay for and how families like to live. The functionality of it all, even demonstrated by your own home, and then this project that you've done.
Yeah.
Could you see yourself doing another one, or is it too early to ask you that question?
I think I would do another one. Yeah. I mean, with all that I've learned, probably if you ask me what was my biggest mistake, it was not putting enough thought into each room. I was so busy with the big picture. And then when it came down to making decisions, like my carpenter, he was going through demoing. And then he'd said, what are you doing about the kitchen, the cupboards? And I just said, I'm
not there yet.
I hadn't thought about that. What? I cost myself probably an arm and a leg, because I said, I'll just get rid of them.
Yeah.
But I've gone ahead now, and I've literally replaced exactly the same cupboards with new cupboards, where I could really have saved money by just putting new bench tops on and perhaps putting new fronts on. I don't know. But I didn't think about that at the time.
Yes. So many people just go in and gut a place. Like they can't wait to throw it all out. They have this thing like it all needs to be replaced because it at the time might feel a bit dirty or feel a bit, sad looking. So everything goes skip bin. And I think standing back and taking a breath and trying to plan ahead as much as you can really does help. And it's a bit of an art to do that. Even
my word.
Yeah, I watched the shows on TV, even the block, one of the builders was talking to the two females. I don't even know their names. I watch it sometimes, not all the time.
Yeah.
But basically he was saying, you have to plan this week for what we have to do next week and the week after. You can't plan room by room in that moment. You really do have to always be thinking ahead about what's coming. And it's not easy to do. You'll be better when you do your next one, and hopefully you will. So what's a key learning from your renovation? A key learning.
Oh,
I'm making you think today, Tanya.
Oh, yes, you are. Well, key learning. I just think for me personally, when I think on what I've done in my own homes, as opposed to what I've done with this house and having to make decisions on the hop, and it's like those 150 white paint colors.
White.
that just did my head in. Everything, and I think I even spoke to you about it. It's overwhelming. I haven't had to worry about paint colors in anything that I've done with my homes.
Yeah.
I think the key learnings for me were that if I were to do it again, I would have the knowledge and I would also have the confidence to go ahead and make decisions quickly. Whereas with this one, I have just spent so much time procrastinating and I was probably a little nervous. To me, I'm a bit like my dad. I'm a high achiever and I expect a lot from what I try to achieve. And I think I've learned that I can sort of do things and not put so much pressure on myself.
Yeah.
And just take a breath. And as someone a very smart woman told me one day, trust your gut.
Trust your instincts. You've got this, girlfriend.
Yes, you told me that.
Yeah.
And it's
true.
So
true. We get hung up, we second guess ourselves, and it's really, it takes a lot to move through that. And I think something that everyone experiences, especially when you see pictures on Instagram and Pinterest and everyone does these amazing rooms and you think, oh my goodness, you start to, that thing where you just start to doubt yourself and amongst a community of so-called professionals, when in the end, this is our game. We have to get a property. We have to make changes to that property and make them as pretty as we can on a budget so that the property is worth more in the end. Beyond Absolutely. What we paid for the property and what we spent on it doing up. That's kind of it in a nutshell. And I think someone like you, Tanya, can do it all day long. And you're doing it. You've done it. You're nearly at the end.
I am. Yeah, look, I think for me, it's been a long journey because I've had the home for so long, but I'm glad that I hung out and waited until I was ready to sort of pursue it. And I've put all my energies and all my time into it. And I'm really looking forward to the end result. It's getting really exciting now.
Me too. You had the tragic moment really with your dad in the middle of it. Did you think that renovating was part of the healing process, like throwing yourself into a project to take family stuff?
Yes. Well, I sort of didn't really even get started until after my dad passed away. I was spending so much time with him prior to his passing and I just couldn't focus on anything else. Yeah. So that obviously had to be my main priority. My dad was my main priority. Yeah. And yes, definitely after Dad passed away, I went away. My husband sent me off for a holiday and I had a bit of a break and I came back and I sort of thought, okay, this is it. It's time to pull all that information together again and let's get started. And it's been a blessing, really. I've just spent the past, I suppose it's been probably 5 months. I've been tinkering backwards and forwards and getting getting the quotes was the hardest part because it took so long.
Yeah.
And I went through quite a few different people until I got the people I wanted.
Yeah.
I've been lucky that most of the trades I've used have been the ones that I've had here at my home that I've used here.
Yes.
So I knew that I could trust them, and I knew that they would, do the right thing by me. And then I had to wait, of course, because they were already booked up with other jobs. So it's been a long process. But now that I've done it once, if I were to go back and do it again, I would definitely have a lot more information in my own mind and not be worried about it.
Yeah, I agree. Is renovating, is it something that you would consider helping somebody else with? Like if somebody in your local area were to contact you and say, hey, could you help me with my either design or planning or product selection, all of those things?
I don't know whether or not I'm confident enough to do that for someone else. I know.
Say those words in front of me, Tanya.
I know. I'm very naughty. But look, I have helped a few different people that I know.
Yeah.
But I know them. I think it's a huge thing for me to actually, I probably would, but designing, a whole renovation type of thing, I wouldn't be brave enough to do that. And I think there's a big difference too. If you're a hands-on renovator, I admire anyone. Like a lot of the community with Rare, I know they're hands-on. I see them on Facebook and I admire them so much. I would love to be able to do what they do, because again, it's creative. It's another form of creation, but they're actually doing it with their hands. Whereas for me, I suppose I underestimate myself a lot. I know quite a few times I hear myself say, I'm a rookie renovator. I'm a rookie renovator. It's almost like, and I know I shouldn't say that.
No, you're so not. Yeah.
I undermine myself because I'm not actually doing the work. I'm just instructing someone how to do it or what I want them to do. So perhaps I need to reevaluate how I see what a renovator is.
I might put you on a plane and put some gloves on those beautiful nails of yours and drag you up to the place.
I'll cut the nails off. I don't care.
I give you a sledgehammer. We can start to knock out some walls together.
I'd love to. Look,
demolition.
I'm like everybody else. I love watching the reno shows on TV, and I do all of that. And Shane, my husband, says, oh, God, don't look. Here comes job number 555. But I really do. I enjoy watching those shows, and I envy people who are in that position where they can pick up a sledgehammer and slam it. I'd love to do that, but I just have never been in that position to do that. I don't have the resources, or not resources, but the ability, because I've never done it, really. I wouldn't know first thing to do with, how to,
Here's your homework for the next one. You know me. Here's your homework, Tanya. Write this down.
Okay.
Splashback tiles in a laundry or something like that. Just set yourself a task, research how to do it on YouTube, go and set yourself up with the equipment that you need and just go. I think that's how we all learn. But, there's nothing wrong with doing things the way you're doing, because your energy is spent by just calling people, getting the quotes, like those things that kept you busy during your renovation. Yeah, that's totally fine to run things like that. It's such an individual journey.
Absolutely. Yeah.
What do you think you'll be doing in 5 years' time? Let's
God.
Forward 5 years.
5 years. I'm getting too old.
Okay, so we'll be touring around the Caribbean.
No, look, I think I'll always be wanting to do something that, as I said, is creative. It's just that is who I am. And I can't imagine what I'm going to do when this is finished, to be honest. I've already started thinking, okay, maybe I should get back into my painting. Is that going to be enough for me? And probably not. So I don't know. I've quite often thought perhaps my daughter, Kimberly, who, as I said, is a mini-me now, she's a very hands-on person. Her and her husband built a beautiful home, and she wasn't happy with the paint colour on the outside of the front of her house, which was the timber section, and she repainted it. She's repainted walls. So she's a hands-on person. I've quite often thought perhaps we should buy one together, and I might get some instruction from her on how to do things.
Oh, that'd be great fun. You girls, honestly, you'd be a powerhouse couple doing a property together.
I think so.
That'd be awesome. Yeah. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Oh, it's been a blast. Thank you. It's gone better than I thought.
I love it when people are really nervous about doing this and then they come on, we just talk, and it's really, really nice. And I know everybody gets something from listening to everybody's personal stories. In the end, that's what it's all about. So much more than the property, I always say.
Oh, 100%. No, it's been wonderful.
If anybody would like to get in touch with Tanya, if they're in the local area and they'd like to push her outside her comfort zone and get her opinion on colours and flooring and bits and pieces, then you may contact Tanya through me. I'll put you in touch. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.